Roxo Media House.
I see Coach Gillespies as like our leader. Like he's gonna lead us into war. Like I'm behind him, I'm gonna do what he commands of me, and I feel like everybody else will do too.
Practice number 11 for the Horned Frogs at the Morris practice fields today, and the theme of this one is tempo.
This is Frogs Today Daily. Frogs Fall Camp 2022 presented by Dave's Hot Chicken. And here's your host, the voice of the Horned Frogs, Brian Estridge.
Welcome into Fort Worth. I'm Brian Estridge for another edition here of Frogs Today Daily. It's presented by our friends at Dave's Hot Chicken. And boy, do we have a Sunday lineup for you here today. No days off right now, at least until Wednesday for the Horned Frogs. And we're here today with them to bring you all the news from practice number 11. Coach David Bowden is alongside. Tempo is important to him, important to Sonny Dykes as well. We're going to talk with him here shortly about that. Then Jamie Plunkett will look at it from the defensive side. What does that tempo mean to the Horned Frog defense? We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Speaking of defense, kind of our focus here today, Jamarkus McFarland, the D-line coach, is going to stop by. Former OU great. That's right. He was all Big 12 performer at D-line. Now gets to bring that as a teacher here to the Horned Frogs. And in the interview room, we'll go live where Bud Clark and Millard Bradford are both standing by. Two safeties in this Frog defense. They're ready to fill us in on how things are progressing for Joe Gillespies' group. But right now, it is time to talk about this tempo that has been a priority for Coach Sonny Dykes. David Beaudin joins us from the indoor facility as we speak. That has been a priority for this team. And I know, Coach, you were saying earlier you feel like that tempo started to pick up a bit, especially for this offense.
Yes, that's exactly right. Offensively, certainly we've heard from Coach Garrett Riley and as the head coach, Coach Sonny Dykes have talked about playing with tempo and playing fast. And I think today was really a breakthrough day for the offense in terms of just playing with a purpose and a sense of urgency. And you saw it from all 11 guys, really. You saw eyes on the move, which means as they're running to the ball, they're looking to get the signal at the same time. And, so there's a lot of communication happening between signals, and really for the skill positions, it became a sort of a silent practice, meaning they weren't yelling for the call, they weren't doing those things. It was just get the signal, get lined up, and execute. And in terms of the quarterbacks, they were just ripping it as soon as they catch it, getting the ball out fast, playing with a lot of speed, a lot of tempo, and honestly, it was a lot of fun to watch.
So have we seen any slowdown though with either one of the quarterbacks out of there? Are we talking about a tempo that really runs through all three deep?
No, actually, that was the beauty of it, Brian, was regardless of who was under center, they were operating with the same tempo, really fast pace, regardless of who it was. And I'm sure that was a really good sign for these offensive coaches today. And so when you got that, they all bring a little bit something different to the table, but it was interesting to watch just the command. They all had a command, all three guys, was able to sort of run the show. And then one thing they did that was all similar across the board for all three of them were a lot of quick screens, getting the ball out fast, now screens to the receiver, not necessarily releasing linemen all the way down the field, but just catch it and getting the ball out if the numbers dictate it. So really what they do pre-snap is get up there, and it's just a numbers game, really simple. If you've got 3-over-2, if you've got 4-over-3, then obviously you win that battle, catch the ball, get it out regardless of what's going on up front. And so in order to play that fast, what they do is they don't change the play. The offensive line, the running back, they still have whatever the run call is on, and the quarterback will just either tap his side or tell it to the running back a me call. He'll catch the ball and get the ball out, and all three guys do that really well. From there, they obviously bring different skill sets, but it's really fun to watch how fast they're playing with all three quarterbacks.
Good stuff there from Coach David Bowden. Thank you for joining us there from the Sandball Indoor Practice Facility. When we continue with Frogs Today Daily, Jamarkus McFarland, the D-line coach, bringing the energy for those Horned Frog defense. He joins us next when we continue after this timeout.
Dave's Hot Chicken is a cult favorite and now has 2 locations in Fort Worth, Bryant Irvin Road on I-20 and Berry Street at TCU, both owned and operated by Horned Frogs. Mention the Frogs Today show and get 10% off anytime and order online at daveshotchicken.com.
The Flying T Club provides the everyday TCU fan and alum the ability to specifically support TCU student athletes. Flying T Club offers 3 levels of memberships. The Flying T Club is a nonprofit organization supporting the brand development of TCU student athletes through a series of unique event-based networking opportunities, which are exclusive to our members. These events provide a great social engagement tool for our members and student athletes alike. Follow them on Instagram at Flying T Club or online at flyingtclub.com. Back we come on Frogs Today Daily, and we are honored to have Jamarkus McFarland, the Frog D-line coach, alongside with us. Straight from practice, man. I appreciate you walking off the field and coming in here to join us. Give me some sense of, all right, now we're about 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Man, I'm impressed. The guys, man, I'm impressed by the guys up front. They look different. They put in the work throughout the summer. So you got some thickness going on up front, man, more strength, more endurance. So allowed to play with that a little bit. I feel like a kid in a room full of toys, just piecing it all together. But 2 weeks, they've built some confidence. They're getting very confident in the defense as a unit, the unity as a whole. Some guys have taken some leadership roles, but everything's falling in place nice.
The other thing that I noticed, too, is there's some depth there. I mean, you're starting to build. I watch your rotation. You're playing a lot of guys.
Yeah. I think that's the key to success. I've learned that at some previous places that I've been is get that bottom half together, and get them to visualize it all as one whole and then roll it. Yeah. Because nothing's like being in the phone booth battling and then having to run after the ball. So we get fatigued a little bit faster than everybody else. The muscle tone that we have on some of these guys, too, they get tight. And once you go play 4, 5, 6, so it's figuring out that happy medium of what's enough but what's not too much.
Yeah, and I look at that group, too. The other thing I see is kind of a play any game you want to name. Dylan Horton on the edge, is a guy who can speed rush and get there. You got big Dominic Williams, a young guy. You got old versus young. I mean, it does feel like you got a lot of different pieces.
Yeah, that is unspoken. That's not, when I got here in the spring, I didn't really know. Figuring it out and kind of seeing those guys run around in drills, you know what you had. But then once you get to know their personalities, you get to know their skill sets. Now, it's like a puzzle. You just got to put it together and see what plays best together. And that's what I'm kind of doing now, flipping guys around, seeing guys communicate, because that's a big aspect. Is dudes playing with different linebackers. Dudes playing with different noses, different ends. It's just figuring out who plays the best together. They all are talented. They wouldn't be here if they weren't. But who communicates the best and who gels the best when they take the grass together.
We had Sonny Misi on earlier in the week, and he talked about kind of new life that he's experienced and a renewed energy with this group. I mean, that's got to make you feel good when you hear that out of an older player.
Yeah, I feel great about that because he is special. He's a special person. And just being a new coach, when you come into a new program, you don't know what they have instilled already. You don't know what's their routine and how they're going to respond to you. So you kind of feel it out throughout the spring. But this fall, we're over that hump. So now they trust me, they believe in me. So taking that grass is easy to pass a message for myself to a leader and let him take and run with it. Let him lead his group, So a couple of those guys you can call. Dylan Horton is a freak, you know what I'm saying? Yep. You got Sonny Misi, they all respect, and George, all those dudes, man. George is a voice that everybody on the team respects. They all call him Unc. He's been there a long time, but he's earned that. So finding ways to get that into the game, and get that energy into your locker room and into the meeting rooms is a big aspect of this week.
One of the things I've noticed also is your ability to motivate these guys. Mm-hmm. You have a master's degree in human relations with a 4.0 GPA, by the way. But you got and you put that to use, don't you? I mean, you got to find, because it's different. Guys are motivated differently, aren't they?
I think it's very important that they know early you care about the last name on the back of their jersey just like you do the front. As soon as you get past that, they begin to trust you, and it's a big deal to listen because they know their bodies better than we know their bodies. We know the defense, but we got to make sure that we blend it with them. And my degree was just simply, it taught me the most about listening, different ways to watch. And I always just have people talk to people, watch them, watch their body language, watch the things they do inside the cafeteria, watch the way they walk into your building. Just pay attention to those things and figure out how can you make them all walk in the same way? How can you make them all sit together? How can you make them all run together when they're doing drills? And it just trickles downfield when they take on a double team, or when they go into the red zone, or even when they go out into the streets of the city, making sure that they're unified. And that's very important to me, that I'm connecting to the full athlete and the students, making sure they understand what they have here with this university, and they take advantage of that, not just leave the locker room and go home. Go get out there and get to know somebody that's on campus. Get full advantage of what this place has to give.
The other thing, when you think about this group, and you mentioned earlier that you feel like you're playing with a whole lot of new toys. Yeah. You got a lot of toys. Yeah. You got the most toys out there, by the way. I looked at all the different groups, and you got the most toys. You got the tennis balls that you roll out. You got the cones. You got the sleds. Yeah. My favorite one, though, is the ball on the stick.
Oh, yeah.
And when we talked to Sony, I said, Sony, has the ball got a name? And he said, not yet, we got a name.
Yeah.
You got to come up with a name with that,
That would be a good. I would like to see some ideas they have for that.
Yeah.
But those drills, man, over time, I've been at the highest places. I've been at places that run camps at smaller schools. I've done a lot of drills all over. And you just have to work with what you have. You may have this chair out there.
Right.
You may have the shirt off your back, and you have to be creative. So when you do have all this equipment, finally, you still want to bring some of that onto the grass, the tennis balls.
Yeah.
I mean, the stick ball is some tape wrapped around the pipe. It just grounds you, not to get too high.
Yeah.
You use that fancy equipment, but just get creative and keep things fresh. A lot of the drills work the same stuff, but just a different presentation keeps them intrigued.
All right, give me your take on this 3-3-5 of Coach Gillespies. A lot of versatility, a lot of freedom, too, for these guys. Your sense of it, because you played in some good defenses over the years. What do you think?
Yeah, it's very good, especially for this league, man. As a defensive line coach, it's easier for us to get aligned. I've played in the 4-down front. I've played in San Diego in the 3-down front. And just not knowing which side of the ball you're going to be on sometimes can be confusing. You can play field ends, boundary ends. You can play the field three technique, to the back, to tight end, whatever. You can be all over the place, so half the time you spend trying to adjust and get down.
Yeah.
So the benefit for us is our guys know which side of the ball they're going to be on. As soon as that ref put the balls down, they know where to stand and get the call. So it allows us to play fast and match this league. And then you start figuring out the best position they can line for plays you're going to face. But we got freak athletes. And the key to it is let the freak athletes be free athletes. Don't let them think too much.
Right.
The quicker they can get their hand in the grass and go vertical and play ball, the better off you're going to be. Don't have them thinking.
I love it, man. I think it's going to be exciting. By the way, these are the only two guys in this room right now who've actually been in the Dome in Vancouver. Where the BC Lions played. Yeah, I've been there.
Oh, beautiful.
It
beautiful
is.
place
Great
now.
town, isn't
beautiful
it?
Place.
Yeah, just expensive to live.
Oh, more expensive than L.A.
Exactly. Jamarkus, thanks for coming by, man.
Definitely.
Really do appreciate it. Looking forward to watching this team. I get a renewed energy from this group, man. I feel like they're ready to get after it.
They're ready to roll. I'm ready to roll. I'm fired up to get in that stadium. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, man. Jamarkus McFarland joining us here on Frogs Today Daily. Coming up, we've got two safeties in the interview room, Bud Clark and Millard Bradford. We'll go check them out next here as Frogs Today Daily continues after this timeout.
Say hello to the water of tomorrow. Richard's Rainwater. Richard's Rainwater is 100% rain, refreshing, renewable, and the only ingredient we use in our water. Why rain? Because everyone deserves access to clean water, and rain is a 100% renewable resource available everywhere. Drink the rain. Save the planet. Shop now at richardsrainwater.com.
Dave's Hot Chicken bringing us this edition of Frogs Today Daily here on the Sunday. Jamie Plunkett is in that indoor facility as well. Horned Frogs moved the back end of practice in there a bit for some special teams work. And, Jamie, when we talked earlier with Coach David Bowden about tempo, our focus was on the offense. Give me some sense. So the quick play out of this Frog offense, what kind of effect has it had on Joe Gillespies' defense?
I think David's absolutely right, Brian. The offense has gotten the better of the defense and team tempo the last couple days of practice. You've been able to see on the sidelines that the defense is still really working on installing some of the more complex packages that they're working through, and that's caused them to be a little bit slower than the offense at this point in fall camp. You've got coaches on the sidelines kind of coming out, repositioning some guys at safety and at linebacker, making sure that everybody's in the right spot before the play, and that's just not as easy to do as the offense picks up speed and starts moving down the field a little bit faster.
Well, Jamie, it's not as if this defense doesn't know their assignments or what to do, right?
Sure. There's a balance there, right? They've been working on this stuff in walkthroughs and at a slower pace through this part of fall camp, but now it's about knowing your assignment and keeping up with the tempo that the offense is presenting. So it's another layer in this defense that they're trying to work through right now, and it's something that they're going to have to get adjusted to before the season starts, because Colorado isn't going to line up and say, all right, is everybody ready to snap the ball? This is something that they've got to practice and get used to doing, is getting aligned quickly, getting the play call in, and making sure that they are keeping up with what the offense is doing.
Interesting take there, Jamie. Thank you very much for that insight. Coming up, we'll go live to the interview room. Bud Clark and Millard Bradford are both there, two Frog safeties. We'll do that when Frogs Today Daily continues in a moment.
Dave's Hot Chicken is a cult favorite and now has 2 locations in Fort Worth, Bryant Irvin Road on I-20 and Berry Street at TCU, both owned and operated by Horned Frogs. Mention the Frogs Today show and get 10% off anytime and order online at daveshotchicken.com.
Practice number 11 for the Horned Frogs here today at the Morris practice fields. Right now in the interview room, let's quickly go there. That's where Bud Clark and Millard Bradford are standing by, 2 Frog safeties with insight into the progress of this defense. Let's head there right now.
I say we developing more of a team culture, something that don't feel like that we always had. I feel more in unity with my teammates and stuff like that. We're focused on a goal, or the same goal, and we're actually trying to achieve it and accomplish it. So I don't feel like I always had that since I've been here. Yeah. I feel like we learn about each other every day. We keep growing with each other ever since Coach Dykes first got here. It's been a growing process for us. So each day is something new. It's something you can learn from, you can grow from. Little things, nutrition, like having each individual player take care of themselves to come and like make our team stronger, have depth, different things. Just staying in touch in touch with each other, like checking up on each other, well-being, mental, emotional, physical, things like that. We have more leaders. I feel like it's not just 1 or 2 people or a set people that's leading the team. Anybody can lead, whoever steps up. I say amount of times we eat, how much you eat is the biggest thing, and like what you putting in your body, and like understanding like what we're doing and like how it affects us, which our staff is doing a great job of educating us on and stuff like that. So for me, going into my last year, this is what I expect. So I feel like it's preparing us in the best way for the season. So our offense looks good by the way they're going about it, and I feel comfortable with them and confident. And so I feel like it gives them more confidence in what we're doing. It allows the younger guys to get in earlier and understand what's going on. It's easy to learn and understand and things like that. So everybody's talented. Everybody has some playmaking ability. So as a senior safety, I have to stay on my P's and Q's, make sure I'm doing everything to the best of my ability, because this next man up, he can do just as much as me. We talk about Colorado every day. They haven't really told us like a certain a stat or anything. It's just we have to be ready, and the only way we can be ready is getting ourselves ready for September 2nd.
You're playing.
I feel like a lot of people didn't really know who I was. So like they hear Nick all the time, and they hear Millard, and there's a lot of confusion. Like I had two different me's, so just what's my real name? So my birth name. I'm go with it.
So being here is like different, like what Nook was saying. We are together really. So being able to be together with my brothers and form a brotherhood is really different for me, because at first, it's kind of every now and then everybody had their cliques, but we all together. We learn new things about each other every day. It's pretty easy. So it ain't too much thinking. So I can be a ball player, but still be fundamental about what I have to do and technical.
Healthy this time of year.
So like now we're doing like ice baths after every practice, eating every day, like consistently, snacks and different things like that. So that helps us stretching, do all type of different things. So that's. Oh yeah, I've been sit back a couple of times, but that's cool though, because I've been gaining my weight. Got a little weight on me. I feel good.
How much have you gained so far?
Probably like 10 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Feeling good though?
Oh yeah, I feel solid. I feel like that helps us really, because maybe when we go like to Colorado or something, like they up there in thin air, so they'll probably come out tempo, so that'll be helpful for us going against our offense.
That's going to do it for this edition of Frogs Today Daily. Thank you much for joining us here. We had insight from Bud Clark and Millard Bradford, as you heard there. Of course, Millard, who used to go by Nook at safety for the Horned Frogs. Big thank you to Jamie Plunkett and David Bowden for sticking around here on the Sunday, and also to Jamarkus McFarland, the Frog D-line coach, who joined us earlier on. All right, we're going to be back with you tomorrow with another edition of Frogs Today Daily, presented by our friends at Dave's Hot Chicken. So until we see you then, have yourself a great rest of the weekend. We're headed off to lunch right now. JW's buying. The kale salad is in order. Get ready for that.
Frogs Today Daily, presented by Dave's Hot Chicken, is a production of Roxo Media House. Roxo Media House.